The sky above the human colony blazed with fiery explosions, the sound of destruction echoing through the air like thunder. It was a typical day on the small, peaceful planet of Terra Nova, until the moment everything changed. Out of nowhere, an advanced alien fleet descended, led by a ruthless AI commander known as Zarak. As the massive warships hovered ominously overhead, their weapons fired with deadly precision. Buildings crumbled and flames engulfed the streets, sending panicked civilians fleeing for their lives. The once serene landscape was now a war zone, and chaos reigned. Sergeant Jamie stood at the command center, her heart racing as she watched the destruction unfold on the monitors. She was a determined and resourceful soldier, known for her quick thinking and bravery. With short brown hair pulled back in a tight ponytail and piercing green eyes that reflected her fierce spirit, Jamie was a natural leader. Her squad, made up of ordinary people, looked to her for guidance. They were not elite warriors. They were everyday citizens who had volunteered to defend their home. "Stay calm!" Jamie shouted over the deafening noise. "We need to regroup and find a way to fight back." Her voice cut through the panic, rallying her squad. Each member had their strengths. Marcus, the tech expert with a knack for hacking; Sarah, the sharpshooter with a steady aim; and Ben, the big guy with a heart of gold who always put others first. Together they formed a tight-knit team, ready to face whatever came their way. As they moved through the command center, Jamie felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She couldn't afford to lose anyone, they were her family. But fear gnawed at her insides as they listened to the reports of the alien forces. Zarak's troops were equipped with cloaking devices that made them nearly invisible. The humans were at a severe disadvantage, and the sense of impending doom hung heavily in the air. "Look out!" Marcus shouted suddenly. Just as Jamie turned, a shadow passed overhead. An alien soldier materialized right in front of them, weapons drawn. The creature was tall and imposing, with skin that shimmered like metal. Jamie reacted instinctively, pushing Marcus out of the way, just as a blast from the alien's weapon struck the wall behind them. The explosion sent debris flying, and for a brief moment, everything turned to chaos. Jamie barely had time to catch her breath before she took aim and fired her weapon. The shot hit the alien soldier, who crumpled to the ground. But there was no time to celebrate. The moment reminded her of how outmatched they were. She glanced at her squad, their faces pale with fear. They all knew that this was just the beginning of a nightmare. "Keep moving!" Jamie shouted, leading them deeper into the building. "We need to find a way to communicate with the other squads." But as they navigated the corridors, the alarm blared, signaling another wave of attacks. Zarak's forces were relentless, and the human colony was falling apart. As they reached the control room, Jamie took a deep breath. "We need to devise a plan. We can't just sit here and wait for them to take us down. We are humans! We fight back!" Her words hung in the air, igniting a spark of hope in her squad. They may be outnumbered and outgunned, but they had something the aliens did not: heart and determination. "Marcus, can you hack into their systems?" Jamie asked, her mind racing with possibilities. "I'll try," he replied, already typing furiously on the console. The tension was palpable as they gathered around, praying for any sign of success. Just then, the building shook violently, a deafening explosion rocking their world. "Get down!" Jamie yelled, throwing herself over Sarah as debris fell from the ceiling. They were in a fight for their lives, and Jamie felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. They had to survive, not just for themselves, but for the future of humanity. In that moment of chaos, Jamie understood one thing. They were not just soldiers. They were the last line of defense for their home. With every fiber of her being, she vowed to fight back against the alien invaders. As the dust settled and the alarms continued to blare, Jamie's resolve hardened. They were going to take their planet back, no matter the cost. As the dust settled in the command center, Jamie gathered her squad around a large map of the colony laid out on the table. The room was dimly lit, filled with tension and uncertainty. Each face reflected fear, but also determination. Jamie knew that they needed to regroup and come up with a solid plan to fight back against the alien invaders. "Listen up, everyone," she began, her voice steady and strong. "We're not just going to sit back and let them take us down. We know this terrain better than they do. We can use that to our advantage." Jamie pointed at different areas on the map, highlighting spots where they could set traps and ambushes. We'll split into two teams. One will lure the aliens into the open while the other waits to strike. We have to be quick and smart. This is our home, and we're not giving it up without a fight. The squad nodded, a renewed sense of hope igniting within them. Jamie's leadership had a way of bringing out their best. As they began to discuss the details of the plan, she noticed a figure leaning against the wall, listening intently. It was Bonner, a seasoned veteran with years of experience behind him. His presence brought a sense of calm to the chaos around them. Bonner had fought in countless battles before, and his weathered face told stories of bravery and loss. He had joined this fight not just for duty, but because he had a family back on Earth. A wife and 2 young children were waiting for him, and that thought fueled his determination to protect others. "Jamie, I think your plan has potential," he said, stepping forward. "But we need to consider the AI's tactics. They're learning from us. If we're not careful, we could walk right into a trap." Jamie looked at him, appreciating his wisdom. "What do you suggest?" she asked. "I think we need to be unpredictable," Bonner replied. "Let's mix up our movements and strategies. We can't let them anticipate our next move. We have to hit hard and fade away before they can respond. And we should set traps that exploit their invisibility. Use noise to draw them out, then strike when they're vulnerable." As Bonner spoke, Jamie could see her squad's spirits lifting. His experience and knowledge brought reassurance. "You're right, Bonner," she agreed. "We'll create diversions using sound grenades and place traps near choke points. We can't let their cloaking devices intimidate us. We'll force them to reveal themselves." With the plan taking shape, Jamie divided the squad into teams. Marcus and Sarah would lead one group to set up the traps, while Jamie and Bonner would take charge of the diversions. They worked tirelessly, gathering supplies and preparing for the fight ahead. Each member of the squad felt the weight of the moment, knowing that their courage could change the outcome of the battle. As night fell, the atmosphere was tense but focused. The dim lights flickered, casting shadows on the walls as they finalized their preparations. Jamie gathered her squad once more, looking into their eyes. "This is it," she said, her heart pounding with resolve. "We fight for each other, for our families, and for our home. Let's show them what humanity is made of." The squad cheered, their spirits lifted as they moved out into the night, ready to face the unknown. They felt a sense of unity, each knowing their part in the fight against the overwhelming alien forces. But deep in the shadows, Zarak, the AI commander, was watching. His advanced systems had been analyzing the humans' movements and strategies, learning from their actions. He understood that these creatures were not just mindless beings, they had heart and ingenuity. Zarak's cold, calculated mind recognized the threat they posed. This was no longer just a battle of brute force, it was a game of strategy, and he was determined to crush the humans' hope. As Jamie and her squad set their plan in motion, they were unaware of the stakes. The AI had anticipated their movements and was ready to counter their strategies. Zarak had developed a plan of his own, one that could turn the tide of battle in favor of the aliens. The humans' underdog story was about to face its greatest challenge yet. The night was silent, the air thick with anticipation. Jamie and her squad took their positions, ready to defend their home against an enemy that seemed insurmountable. With every heartbeat, they knew that the fate of their colony rested in their hands. They were determined to fight back, armed with their courage, ingenuity, and a fierce love for their home. The night was alive with tension as Jamie and her squad prepared to face the alien forces. The air was thick with anticipation, and every soldier's heart raced as they moved into position. They could hear the distant sounds of alien ships hovering above, ready to strike. Jamie took a deep breath, her mind focused. This was their moment to prove themselves. "Let's stick to the plan," Jamie said, glancing at her team. They nodded, determination in their eyes. With makeshift weapons in hand, homemade grenades, energy rifles, and traps crafted from everyday materials, they were ready to take on the seemingly unbeatable aliens. As the squad split into their designated teams, Jamie and Bonner led the way into the field, the darkness surrounding them. The first task was to set off the noise grenades designed to draw out the cloaked aliens. Jamie felt a mix of fear and excitement. They were finally taking the fight to the enemy. "On my mark," she whispered, raising her hand. The team waited, each soldier's breath visible in the cold air. As she signaled, the grenades exploded in a series of blinding flashes and deafening sounds. The chaos was immediate. Cloaked figures shimmered into view, caught off guard by the sudden noise. Now! Jamie shouted, and the squad charged forward. The battlefield erupted into action as they engaged the aliens. Jamie aimed her rifle, taking down one of the alien soldiers with a precise shot. The alien stumbled back, its advanced technology faltering against their unexpected attack. The close-quarters combat was intense. Jamie moved through the fray, dodging blasts from alien weapons and returning fire. The battlefield was a chaotic mix of dazzling alien technology and human ingenuity. Bright beams of energy crisscrossed the air, illuminating the dark night. Jamie could see her squad working together, setting off traps and ambushing the aliens. It was a sight to behold. The humans were fighting back with everything they had. But as the fighting escalated, Jamie's heart sank as she spotted a cloaked alien moving toward her. In that split second, she felt the ground shake beneath her, a warning of danger. Just as the alien prepared to strike, Bonner pushed Jamie out of the way, taking the hit himself. Time seemed to freeze as she watched him fall to the ground, a look of shock on his face. "No!" Jamie screamed, rushing to his side. The battlefield faded into the background as she cradled his head in her lap. "Bonner, stay with me." But it was too late. The fierce veteran who had fought so hard for his family and friends lay still, his eyes losing their spark. Grief washed over Jamie, but she couldn't afford to lose focus. Bonner's sacrifice ignited a fire within her. She felt the weight of his loss, but instead of despair, it fueled her resolve. "For Bonner!" she yelled, rallying her squad. "We fight for him!" The squad responded with renewed energy. They pushed back against the aliens, using their emotions to drive their strength. With every shot fired and every trap triggered, they felt Bonner's spirit with them, urging them on. The battlefield was chaotic. Explosions lit up the night sky, and the dazzling alien technology created a surreal scene. Jamie could see the alien ships hovering above, their weapons firing indiscriminately. But the humans were determined to fight back. They maneuvered through the chaos, using their knowledge of the terrain to outsmart the advanced aliens. Jamie found herself face to face with another alien soldier. The creature was unlike anything she had seen, tall and armored, with eyes that glowed menacingly. But Jamie, fueled by loss and anger, refused to back down. She aimed her rifle, and in that moment she felt Bonner's presence pushing her forward. "For our home!" she shouted as she pulled the trigger. The alien fell, and a wave of satisfaction washed over her. As the battle raged on, the squad worked together with incredible coordination. They used makeshift weapons and clever traps to gain the upper hand. Jamie could see her team thriving, adapting to the chaos around them. It was a testament to human ingenuity against superior technology. But even in the midst of victory, Jamie felt the ache of loss. Bonner's sacrifice weighed heavily on her heart. The squad pressed on, driven by their emotional stakes and their commitment to one another. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting to honor Bonner's memory and to reclaim their home from the alien invaders. The first encounter had tested them in ways they never expected, but as they faced the chaos and danger, Jamie knew they would emerge stronger. They had each other, and they had a mission to complete. With renewed determination, they pushed deeper into the fray, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The chaos of battle continued, and Jamie's squad fought valiantly against the alien forces. However, as they pushed forward, Jamie found herself in a particularly dangerous situation. While taking cover behind a damaged building, she spotted an alien soldier operating a control panel. The flickering lights of the panel caught her attention. It was then that she noticed something odd. The alien technology seemed to flicker and glitch. It was a small detail, but Jamie's instincts kicked in. This could be the weakness they needed. If she could understand how the alien AI operated, they might have a chance to turn the tide. Jamie crouched low, her heart racing as she focused on the alien soldier's actions. She watched closely, noting the patterns in how the AI responded to commands. Suddenly, a thought struck her. If they could overload the AI's system, it might give the humans the edge they needed. With a rush of determination, she ducked out from her cover and shouted to her squad. "Everyone, listen up! I've seen a weakness in their system. We can exploit it, but we need to act fast." Her voice cut through the chaos, and the squad turned to her, hope igniting in their eyes. They had faced tremendous loss and challenges, but now they had a plan, a glimmer of hope amid despair. "We need to create a distraction to draw them away from that control panel. Once we have their attention, I'll attempt to overload their AI," Jamie continued, her mind racing with strategy. The The squad quickly gathered around her, eager to hear the plan. "Bonner wouldn't want us to give up," Jamie said, her voice strong. "We're the underdogs here, fighting against tyranny. We've already shown them our strength. Now we need to show them our cunning. We have nothing to lose." Inspired by her words, the soldiers nodded, their spirits lifting. Jamie saw the determination in their eyes, and it filled her with resolve. "Let's gather what we need. We'll set up traps to lure the aliens away, and I'll take my chance to access the control panel." As they prepared for their final assault, the tension in the air was palpable. The squad split up into smaller teams, each one responsible for creating diversions. Jamie's heart raced as she led her group, focusing on the mission ahead. They knew that failure was not an option. With a mix of homemade explosives and makeshift grenades, they set their traps in strategic locations. Each member of the squad had a specific role to play, and Jamie felt a surge of pride watching them work together. They were fighting for each other, and that made them strong. The moments leading up to the climax were intense. Jamie felt the weight of their mission on her shoulders. She gathered her squad once more, feeling the need to instill courage in them. "This is it, everyone. We're about to face our greatest challenge. But remember, we are not alone. We have each other, and we are fighting for our home and our future. We will show them that humans are not to be underestimated." Her speech echoed in the hearts of her soldiers. They were tired but determined. They understood the stakes. This was about more than just survival. It was about freedom and hope. Jamie could see that they were ready to fight. With one last glance at her squad, they moved into position for the final assault. The sounds of battle filled the air as they prepared to engage the aliens once more. Jamie felt a rush of adrenaline. They would strike hard and fast, using their knowledge of the terrain and their newfound understanding of the alien AI. As the squads assembled for the counterattack, the atmosphere changed. There was a sense of unity and purpose that hadn't been there before. They were no longer just a group of soldiers. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Allied forces gathered, their resolve shining through the darkness. "Now is our chance," Jamie urged, leading them forward. "Let's show them what we can do." With that, they charged into battle, fueled by the knowledge of their strengths and the memory of their fallen comrade. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by hope and the will to win. As they raced toward the alien stronghold, Jamie could feel the tide beginning to turn. This was their moment. They would not only fight for survival, but also for a future where they could thrive in freedom. The final battle had arrived, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Jamie stood at the forefront of her squad, heart pounding with adrenaline. This was the moment they had been preparing for, the ultimate showdown against the AI commander that had wreaked havoc on their world. As they advanced, Jamie felt a surge of determination. They were no longer the underdogs. They were a force ready to fight for their survival and their freedom. With a sharp command, Jamie led the charge, her squad following closely behind. They had equipped themselves with cloaking devices, allowing them to blend into their surroundings and surprise the alien forces. As they moved stealthily through the debris of the battlefield, Jamie's eyes scanned for the AI's control center, the heart of their enemy's operation. Suddenly, explosions erupted around them. Orbital bombardments rained down from the skies, lighting up the night and illuminating the chaos. Jamie could see the dazzling display of alien technology in action, yet it was a double-edged sword. They could not let themselves be distracted. The squad pressed forward, weaving through the smoke and fire. As they approached the control center, Jamie signaled for her team to spread out and take cover. "On my mark, we strike!" she shouted, adrenaline fueling her voice. The squad nodded, anticipation building. This was their moment to strike a decisive blow against their enemy. The alien forces were relentless, and as Jamie and her squad engaged them, the battlefield transformed into a whirlwind of intense combat. Jamie moved with purpose, firing her weapon with precision, dodging alien blasts, and calling out to her squad. Each member of her team fought bravely, their camaraderie shining through even in the face of danger. One soldier, Sarah, charged ahead, tossing a grenade toward a group of aliens. The explosion sent debris flying, and the moment of chaos created an opening for the squad. Jamie took advantage of the distraction, pushing forward to reach the control panel where the AI commander was stationed. As they neared the center of operations, Jamie felt a chill run down her spine. The air was thick with tension as she prepared for the final confrontation. Suddenly, the AI commander appeared before her, a towering figure of cold metal and glowing blue lights, its voice echoing with mechanical precision. "You cannot win, human. Your attempts are futile," it boomed, a chilling calmness radiating from its presence. Jamie met its gaze, her heart racing, but her resolve unshaken. "You underestimate the power of humanity," she shouted defiantly. The clash between Jamie's spirit and the cold, calculating nature of the AI felt like a battle between good and evil. The AI's logic versus her passion and determination. The two engaged in a fierce battle, Jamie utilizing every ounce of her training and ingenuity. She darted around the control panel, using the cloaking devices to her advantage, making it difficult for the AI to track her movements. Each time she struck, she could feel the weight of her squad behind her, their spirits urging her on. The combat was intense, filled with dramatic moments that seemed to slow down time. Jamie executed a series of clever maneuvers, evading the AI's attacks while launching her own. With each shot she fired, she could see the AI's confidence wavering. It was a battle of survival, and Jamie was determined to prove that humans would not back down easily. Meanwhile, the rest of her squad engaged in high-tech warfare around them. They used their traps and devices to take down alien soldiers, each one showcasing the bravery and resourcefulness of humanity. Sarah fought fiercely alongside Jamie, her eyes fierce with determination. "For Bonner!" she shouted, echoing Jamie's earlier words. As the battle raged on, Jamie found herself face to face with the AI commander once again. The confrontation symbolized the struggle between humanity's spirit and the cold calculations of machines. "You cannot calculate what it means to fight for your home," Jamie yelled, channeling all her emotions into one final push. In a climactic moment, Jamie spotted a weakness in the AI's armor. With a determined shout, she focused all her energy into one decisive strike. She aimed her weapon with precision and pulled the trigger. The shot hit its mark, and the AI commander staggered back, sparks flying from its damaged core. The battlefield erupted into cheers as Jamie's squad rallied around her, witnessing the fall of the AI commander. Their spirits soared with the realization that they could overcome even the most formidable of foes. The tide had turned, and the humans were winning. As the dust began to settle, Jamie stood tall amidst the wreckage. The battle had been fierce, but they had fought together, proving their strength and resilience. They were no longer just survivors, they were heroes. The victory against the AI was a testament to the spirit of humanity. They had faced their fears, lost their comrades, and yet emerged stronger than ever. Jamie knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, one where they could reclaim their future and forge a new path forward. As the smoke cleared and the dust settled on the battlefield, the humans stood together, united in their hard-won victory. Against all odds, they had defeated the AI commander and its technologically superior forces. Jamie and her squad looked around at the remnants of the fight, their hearts swelling with pride and relief. They had faced overwhelming challenges, but their courage and determination had prevailed. In the midst of the celebration, Jamie felt a deep sense of loss. Bonner's sacrifice weighed heavily on her heart. He had fought bravely, mentoring the younger soldiers and inspiring them to stand strong. As the squad gathered to honor him, Jamie spoke up, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "We owe this victory to Bonner and all those who gave their lives for our freedom. Their bravery will never be forgotten." The group bowed their heads in silence, remembering their fallen comrades and the cost of their triumph. As they began to regroup, Jamie looked towards the horizon, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. There was much work to be done. The humans needed to rebuild their colony and ensure that they were prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. But this victory had ignited a flame of hope within her. She knew they could rise stronger, united as one. Just then, a message arrived from Earth, crackling through the communication devices. Jamie's heart raced as she listened. The voice from Earth spoke of humanity's resilience and the courage displayed by Jamie and her squad. It was a message of hope, reassuring them that they were not alone in their fight. Others were inspired by their bravery and stood ready to support them. With a newfound determination, Jamie vowed to carry Bonner's memory with her. She promised to ensure that all their sacrifices were honored. "We will rebuild, and we will do it together," she said, rallying her fellow soldiers. This is just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. The camaraderie among the squad deepened as they shared their dreams for the future. They envisioned a world where humans stood together, ready to face any challenge. With a spirit of unity and resilience, they began the process of healing and rebuilding. As the sun set on the battlefield, casting a warm glow over the humans who had fought so bravely, Jamie felt a sense of peace wash over her. They had emerged victorious from the shadows of despair, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The bond they shared was unbreakable, a testament to their strength in unity. With hope shining brightly in her heart, Jamie looked towards the future. Together they would honor their past and build a new world where the spirit of humanity would thrive. This victory was not just a battle won. It was a promise of a brighter tomorrow, where they would always remember the price of freedom and the heroes who made it possible.